Hey guys, it's Lena here, and this is my wrap-up video for this year's Booktubeathon. I hope that if you got to participate this year, that you had an amazing time. I know I had an absolute blast! I just had so much fun. I'm gonna go day by day based upon what I read, what challenges the books was for, but I will say first off, I did not complete all the challenges. I did not read all the books on my TBR, but I did manage to read 1,509 pages. Quite a bit, I know, right? Absolutely crazy. So, starting off on Monday, I read Paper Towns by John Green. What was so amazing about reading this book, at the exact same time I was reading this one, someone else was reading it along with me on Twitter. And we were motivating each other, and between his input and the Twitter sprints, I blasted this book in one day. I liked it all the way up until the very end. Margot, my dear, you were amazing up until the very end. I do now really want to go on a road trip. If any of you guys want to go on a road trip, let's do this, man. But either way, I still love John Green. I love his stories. I love his characters, even though I don't sometimes understand them. Looking at you, Margot. But this book was still pretty darn awesome. Hilarious. Everything I look for in a book, this book had it. Would have been 5 stars had it not been for the ending. Now, this was for just a book that I wanted to read just in general, so that didn't really go for any of the challenges. Next one up. On Tuesday, I read Fault Line by C. Desar. This is the book I chose for the one that I really wanted to read the most. But, unfortunately, I only was able to give it 3 out of 5 stars. This book covers some very dark, disturbing, graphic, mature type of subjects. I don't know how to say this without coming off really weird, but it talks about rape, and it's told through the main point perspective of the rape victim's boyfriend. He as a character was absolutely amazing, supportive, everything he needed to be. She, however, I just did not like the way the character handled the situation, and this book has a lot of triggers. It's very disturbing at times. Rape is not something that, is very pleasant in general. But I feel that this book went about it in a way that was unexpected, which is the main reason why I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I don't want to post any spoilers or say anything that would ruin it for you. Just, if you're interested in seeing the point perspective of someone that was raped in a way that you didn't think was possible, pick up this book. The easiest way for me to put it. So on Wednesday, I didn't get to read absolutely nothing, not even a page. I ended up having to go to a wake, and I just couldn't. But on Thursday, I was back in gear, and I picked up Choke by Chuck Palahniuk. This was the book I chose for someone else's favorite book. I had high expectations for this book. However, how can I put this? What would Chuck Palahniuk say? Let's see, what would he say? Disappointed isn't the right word, but it's the first word to come to mind. Just the easiest way for me to sum it up. This book also has a lot of graphic themes, a lot of sex, and a lot of just absolute craziness. And I don't know if, because I read this one so close to Fault Line, if just all the sexual matters just kind of wormed their way into my brain and just made me go, no, I'm done. But there's just something about this book that I just did not like. His writing is amazing, don't get me wrong, but the book itself, If you read this book, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Maybe I rushed through it too fast. Maybe I didn't give it a fair chance. Do you think maybe I should reread it? I'd like to know your opinion down below if you've read this book. So on Friday, I really got into gear, and I managed to read 2 books off my TBR. I read the ending half of Fables by Bill Willingham. The second half of the story was called Animal Farm, I believe. Let me check to make sure. Yes, Animal Farm. I love this book. This was the first graphic novel that I've ever read. I rated this one 5 out of 5 stars. It's got mind-blowing, just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations. And this one is a little bit for the mature crowd as well. I mean, you don't have to necessarily be an adult to read it. But basically the whole gist of the story is, think about every fairy tale character you know. We're talking Cinderella, Snow White, the Beast, Beauty and the Beast, all of them. Imagine them, but now as adults, not so much in their fairy tales. They have messed up lives. They have a crazy evil man that's trying to kill them all off. I'm not sure if it's a man though. Some sort of evil entity that's trying to kill off all these fables, and they've somehow made a town within normal people like us, to live their life, and they have all these rules and, you know, murder, scandals, you name it, it happens. But I loved it. If you've never read a graphic novel before, I definitely would recommend this one. Easy to read, beautiful storyline, even better graphics. I picked this one for the blue on the cover, so that's the challenge this one was for. The next one up, on the same day, this is also still on Friday, I decided to read the book that I chose for the one that I would read and not put down until I finished, which was Vandal by Michael Simmons. This book I gave a 3 out of 5. Now, it wasn't terrible, don't get me wrong, but I was expecting something totally different. This particular book is told through the point perspective of a teenager named Will, whose brother is kind of messed up and always in trouble and always just causing chaos and disorder. And Will, however, is a kid who's in a Kiss band, like Kiss as in the rock and roll band, he like a tribute band, and he's a good student and all this stuff, but his brother's always messing things up. I expected it to be more dark, although it came out more as being really humorous, and I giggled quite a bit. The whole premise of the story was good though. I liked the moral of the story, which was, no matter what your family members do to you, no matter how much they hurt you, no matter what terrible deeds they do, you're still going to be there for them, you're still going to love them, because family love is unconditional. And that's a message that I think a lot of people can relate to, because all of us have that one family member that just messes everything up on purpose. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I just wish it would have been maybe a little bit more mature. So, on Saturday, I started my absolute favorite book out of my entire TBR, which surprised me. It was Every Day by David Levithan. Now, I'm counting this book technically as 2 for myself, but in a long haul as 1. The reason I'm counting it as 2 is because it also includes 6 additional chapters in A's life, which A is the main character. This is a bind-up copy, and originally that short story was only available via ebook. But this book was just absolutely just, I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. It takes place with a character named A, like the letter A. And every day he wakes up in a different body. He assumes their life, you know, he can talk like them, he can access their memories. And he just goes day by day being someone new. He's not exactly sure what he is. He's not sure why he ends up waking up in someone else's body every day. But he ends up falling in love. You know, love is a tricky thing. And it's told through his perspective of always trying to go back to the girl he loves. The ending was a twist ending. It broke my heart, but I understood why it had to be that way. And the last 6 chapters, the short story, those chapters covered his life prior to the one he fell in love with, if that makes sense. It's just a very good book. It's hard to explain, but trust me when I tell you, you need to read this book. It covers every type of stereotype you could imagine, every type of person, culture, life. It's all in this book. That's the thing that I enjoy most about David Levithan. He doesn't leave anyone out. He brings in every person imaginable into his story. No matter what you look like, what your sexual orientation is, no matter anything, there's a character in his book or something in his book that's going to relate to you, at least in this particular one. And that's what I enjoy the most about it. Now, I read this one Saturday going into Sunday. So Sunday afternoon, I think I got done with this one by 2 o'clock, I think. I could have picked up this last book, but my eyes just wasn't doing it. Just was not doing it. And it was Ichiro by Ryan Exania. Now this book is the reason why I failed multiple challenges. This was the one, this is the list over here, this is the one that had the author whose last name has the same first letter of my last name, which is I, and then also the last book I acquired. And I think, yeah, that was it. And then overall, 7 books. This was a graphic novel. I'm not exactly sure why I didn't get to this book, other than I was tired. I don't know if it didn't catch my interest like I thought, or what happened. I ended up reading a grand total of 1,509 pages. I do plan on reading this one very soon. I did read one other story that I really shouldn't mention, but I'm going to mention. It's a short story from an author friend of mine. I was proofreading. That's why I'm not actually including it as a book that I read, although I did count it in my page count. You get what I mean? But when I'm able to talk about that book, I'll be sure to mention it. I can't wait. I think you guys will enjoy it. If you like comedy romance novels, it's pretty good stuff. But this is the end of my wrap-up. I hope that you guys had a great time if you participated in the Booktubeathon. If not, I urge you to join in next year. I've never had so much fun doing anything in my life before. I've never read so much before. I was just so motivated to just keep going, and I can't wait until next year so I can do it again. And thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions about anything, or if you want to see a full review like in video form of any of these books, be sure to let me know. I will also be writing reviews on my Goodreads account very soon. I'll leave the link to it below, so if you're interested in reading any of these, you can just look it up. But until I talk to you guys again, happy reading, enjoy, bye!